Welcome to the UAS drone panel. We're going to turn it over to our awesome CEO, James Sly from the East County Economic Development Council to do a quick welcome.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is James Sly. I am the president and CEO of the East County Economic Development Council, and I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to our first employment panel of the year. The Economic Development Council focuses very heavily on workforce development and the ways that we can help students transition from their workforce training, their college experience into meaningful employment. And so today, we are sitting down with some of our experts and some of our partners in the UAV, UAS drone industry, and we'll be asking them questions about their industries, their experiences, and the ways that some of you can help make those transitions. So I'll take this opportunity now to introduce our moderator for the day, Dr. Javier Ayala, the Dean of Career Technical Education at Grossmont College. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, James, and thank you for pulling this panel together. It's really important that we share what's exciting in the region, and especially in East County when it comes to this type of technology. So as James mentioned, I'm Dr. Javier Ayala. I'm the Dean of Workforce Development and Career Programs at Grossmont College. And Grossmont College, for some of you joining us in the region, it's about 5-10 minutes away from downtown. And we're about 20,000 students, and we have one of the really productive drone programs out there right now at a community college. Over the last couple of years, we've trained almost 200 individuals through a federal grant. And it's been all paid through various grants and resources. So many of our graduates have left the program debt-free, and in many cases have been hired by lots of our drone companies that will be presenting here today. So we're very excited to kind of connect the education and the business together, because those are key partnerships to make sure that we can develop a skilled workforce and be able to get people to work. So what we'll do today, just to give you a quick little overview, we're going to do some bios of our awesome panelists, and then we're going to have them respond to some questions that were pre-selected. And also, afterwards, what we will do is look at your Q&A. So some of you are joining the Zoom webinar, and you'll see a little section that says Q&A. So that's where you can post your question to the panelists or to all of them, and I will read those questions as we get toward the end of the webinar. So again, if you have questions already, feel free to post them in the chat, and then we'll jump right in. So before I start sharing the biographies, I really want to get a sense of who's in the room. So what we developed is a little poll. So for the panelists, this doesn't necessarily apply, but we developed a poll to get a sense of who's actually in the room. So I'm going to launch the poll, and then I'll share the results. This will help our panelists tailor their comments a little bit to who's actually in the room. So as of yesterday, what I have heard is that we have a couple high schools joining us. So if you're one of the high schools joining us, I know that you did a lot of work to rearrange your room and allow lots of your students to join in a webinar in your auditorium, have done all the social distancing that's important with it. So want to welcome you to this webinar. So I will launch the poll now. So let's please take a moment, a few seconds to respond to the poll. So the poll asks a question: share why you're joining the UAS drone webinar. Check all that applies, so you can choose more than one. All right, so, and I'll share the poll results here with our panelists. Great, so far. It looks like your outreach, James, worked out perfectly. Almost more than half are because of the East County Economic Development Council. That's pretty exciting. All right, so let me give folks another second here. It looks like we have almost everyone clicking. Let's see here. All right, so I will share the results. Okay, so we have 58% have heard from the East County Economic Development Council. And by the way, the the message that's been sent out by EC, the East County Economic Development, has gone to high schools, our local region, etc. So that's really resulted in a nice turnout. Some of you are looking for a career change. So this is wonderful because you get a chance to get a feel for the industry and what opportunities are out there. And again, Grossmont College does have a drone program if you're interested. Some of you are curious about drones, heard about it from Grossmont College, and then some of you want to learn more about the industry, and some of you are currently working in the industry. So excellent. Hopefully, panelists, that gives you a sense of who we have in the room. So with that, I do want to start introducing our panelists here. Our first person is Juan Antonio Vasquez. So I'll do a quick little introduction for Mr. Vasquez. And also for the attendees, I will share a little video that Mr. Vasquez wants me to share related to his work. And then he will talk a little bit about that in the first question. So Mr. Vasquez, he's born in Mexico City and raised in Los Angeles. He's been working in aerospace for over 20 years across the US government and private industry. He holds a BS in aerospace engineering from SDSU and an MS in engineering mechanics from Cal State Northridge. He joined General Atomics in November 2015. Prior to that, he spent 14 years working for the CIA. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So you probably know more about us than we know about you, right? I have a feeling you definitely have that part going here. So let me share the video that Mr. Vasquez would like us to share with the attendees. I'll share that now. Give me a second here. All right. Here we go. Now that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome. So we'll have you talk a little bit more as we introduce the other panelists. So next up, Josh Wells. So Josh Wells is co-founder of... All right. So we'll introduce Josh. Josh is co-founder of Planck Aerosystems and brings maritime aviation and mission expertise to the Planck team. He is a former Navy pilot with over a decade of experience flying and maintaining aircraft in the maritime realm. His most recent assignment was developing and executing the plans for the integration of helicopter operations, as well as working with the Department of Defense. Josh earned a BS in Naval Architecture from the US Navy Academy and an MS in Production Development from USC. So wonderful. So I will share Josh's video here so everyone can see that as well. Again, it's almost, when it comes to videos in the drone industry, they are pretty amazing, I will say that. So Josh, let me share yours here. Okay. Here we go.
The law of gravity suggests that what goes up must come down. The question is where? Traditional aviation, whether a plane, a rocket, a helicopter, or drone, still requires people, space, and stability to safely operate. While flight has rapidly become automated, it is still far from autonomous. However promising, current drone technology lacks crucial functionality, the ability to operate from moving vehicles. Millions of ground vehicles and vessels are underutilized because they can't incorporate drone technology. The prospect of autonomous flight that eliminates the need for skilled human operators, stable terrain, and fixed coordinates is the frontier Planck Aero is pioneering. Built, tested, and refined by a team of robotics and aviation experts, we offer the first drone technology navigation solution that can return to and land on a moving platform, moving beyond the limitation of current GPS-based technologies. With an ability to respond and adapt to challenging environmental conditions and moving targets, our proprietary vision-based navigation technology enables a range of operations not previously possible. Using artificial intelligence at the edge to observe, inspect, transport, and protect in an autonomous way enables defense, government, energy, and logistics customers to enhance their capabilities, free up human capital, and expand their operations. Planck Aero has already built a technology that is beyond the current state of the art. What we envision for the future is beyond the current state of the possible. Planck Aero, a new way to fly.
Awesome. So again, very exciting in terms of the material for Planck. I know Josh is going to share that as well. Again, I am so excited. Every time I see these videos, I get very excited. So, and next up is a bird's eye aerial drone. I just want to read a quick bio for John Cooper. John Cooper is the Director of Flight Operations at Bird's Eye Aerial Drone. He began his aviation career in the 2000s, working for Aviation Training School, where he obtained his private pilot's certificate. He's become interested since 2015 when it comes to UAS. He has worked with Bird's Eye Aerial Drone since early 2019 and looks forward to staying on the cutting edge of the industry, focusing on autonomous UAS. So, and here is their video. Outstanding. All right. Next, we have Rick Bohlman, and I'll introduce Rick real quick, and then we'll share his video. Rick moved to San Diego in 1976 with the plan to get into music business, with the city being so close to LA. Intrigued by the opportunity of the internet in 1994, Casement Incorporated was started. Casement has been designing cases for every industry since that day. He has always been interested in new technology, and he has had great fortune to have drones come along and start GPC, Go Professional cases. And I was telling Rick earlier that definitely at Grossmont, we have purchased a lot of his material. So we're excited to have him here as well. So, all right, Rick, I will share your video now. There we go.
By combining quality craftsmanship, innovation, and design, GPC makes custom cases to protect the gear of photographers, cinematographers, and UAV pilots around the globe. Our rugged transit cases are built tough with foam compartments to keep all your equipment organized and protected. We never stop thinking of new designs to help you protect the tools that capture your life's memories. So whether you need to transport your drone, travel abroad with your camera gear, or just need a case to keep all your equipment safe and organized, GPC has a solution for you. And if we don't have it, we'll custom make it for you. Live life original. Go Professional Cases.
Outstanding. So attendees, as you can tell, we have some pretty impressive individuals joining us today in a very big way. So very excited to have them join us, and we'll get started. As I mentioned to the panelists, we have these amazing videos. So one thing we'd like to do is really allow them to comment on those videos that we just shared as they respond to the first question. So the first person that I will call out on is Mr. Vasquez. And so the first question is, tell us about your company and about opportunities in your industry. More specifically, what openings are most difficult to fill, but then also talk about the video. So we'll kick it off. Take it away, Mr. Vasquez.
Sure. Good morning. Very happy to be here. So what you just saw on the video, it's one of our, what we call our main workhorses of our aircraft that we build. This is our remote piloted aircraft. And basically they are what we consider to be medium altitude, long endurance aircraft. They have a speed or the speed of those aircraft are about, it's 345 nautical miles per hour. Our flight ceiling is 50,000 feet. Our time on station on this aircraft could be up to 42 hours. So that means that this aircraft can basically hover at a location up to 42 hours. The way that this aircraft are basically controlled, we have, I don't know if is there an opportunity? There was some slide that gives a high level overview to give you a description of how these airplanes are actually flown. We have basically a couple of major elements. We have what we call the launch and recovery element. That's where our pilot and sensor operator, basically all they do is launch and recover the aircraft. Once this aircraft gets about 200 miles away from its location, from its launch location, it does a handover to satellite communications. So this aircraft can fly anywhere in the globe through satellite communication and perform its mission. The aircraft weighs about, at takeoff is 10,500 pounds. Half of that, we have the ability on our wings to put what we call external payloads. So most of our customers, they buy our aircraft and then they modify anything they want to fly, whether it's a special sensor gets attached to the aircraft on its wings. So what the skills that we are looking for and opportunities with our company, basically from technicians who have skills in manufacturing, ability to have programming language skills. They have to program the manufacturing machines. Also computer-aided design, such as AutoCAD. There's a couple of SolidWorks that does basically the designs through CAD drawings. We have need for what we call AP power plant and airframe and avionic mechanics that work on the aircraft. And obviously the other thing that we would need to make sure that technicians, we have a lot of technicians out in the field that support and maintain our aircraft. They have to be able to read instructions, schematics, both electrical, mechanical. And from the engineering field, we do hire and bring in engineering across the broad spectrum, from electrical engineers who design the electrical systems, mechanical engineers for the mechanical design of the aircraft. We have specialty engineers such as aerodynamicists, propulsion engineers, structural engineers, software engineering. That's a big element that we have to do because all of this is basically flown through software. Obviously, that's how the aircraft basically takes response from the pilot. Just think about this aircraft is flying across the world, and you have the pilot and co-pilot basically at another part of the world. And the way that, how does that happen? Well, through radio frequencies, right? This is through satellite communications. So basically, there's no, it's just like your cell phone, right? When you are on your cell phone, you're talking through a tower. The tower is talking to another element, and then on the other end, there's your other end who you're talking to. So our aircraft works similarly. The aircraft basically is programmed so it's always listening or taking commands from the pilot. If at some point the aircraft does not get any inputs from the pilot, basically it will time out and say, you know what, I can't hear any commands. So the aircraft is pre-programmed to return automatically to the base that it was launched from. And that's basically just in case we have some issues with our command link or satellite communication.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. It's amazing. I'll turn it over to Josh Wells. Can you, so the question, tell us about your company, about the opportunities in your industry, what job openings are most difficult to fill, and comment a little bit about the video we shared.
Yeah, sure. So Planck Aero, we are primarily a drone software company. Our sort of core expertise is in control systems, as per the, what you saw in the video there. Our business is really all about putting drones onto moving platforms. So that is, the standard drone application is all, if you think about it, a stationary user launching a drone, flying out some distance, and then returning back to the same point. Everything that we do sort of turns that on its head, and we everything. All of our customers, all of our operations are all in a dynamically moving and changing environment. So that is, launching drones from ground vehicles. So that's, law enforcement and military vehicles, and then also from vessels in the offshore world. So our work is sort of split 70%, 30%, 70% being in the sort of defense and security world. So that's generally, US and allied governments, and then 30% in the commercial world, primarily offshore. Planck is located, we're in San Diego. We're in the Old Town area, sort of right by the airport. And our team is almost entirely software engineers, but we are growing quite a bit into the technician fields as well. So right now, things that are hard for us to source are people with, high quality, manufacturing experience, soldering, PCB work, design, redesign, rework, repair. And so, the way that we generally sell to our customers is one of two ways. We sell a lot into other aircraft manufacturers, where we're just deploying software into existing aircraft. And then increasingly, we are a systems integrator. So we bring aircraft from other manufacturers in-house. We make some modifications to those and resell those to, generally to government users. So, our team really has to be sort of multidisciplinary and has to understand not just how our system works, but really how other products from sort of across the industry work. So I think that's probably an interesting facet of Planck, is that, you're not working with a single manufacturer's product. You're working really sort of across the industry. So our employees get exposure to, anywhere from 10 to 20 different manufacturers, platforms, over the course of, say, a month. So that's probably a differentiator for us.
Outstanding. Rick, you want to take that question?
Sure. Basically, with what where we're at is that we're just the opposite of GA. We really go and are simplified and designing cases for small vehicles, the UAS market. We don't get anything the size of GA, even though Caseman has worked for GA for quite a few years. And a quick background on the two companies, again, just to jump to that. Caseman, I started 28 years ago, and then GPC. So I own that, and then GPC is a woman-owned business. So if that means anything to anybody out there, my wife owns, Beth Bohlman owns GPC, and I own Caseman. And we started both companies together, but that's kind of the division. So that's the side of it for as far as ownerships. But as far as designing a foam, we really operate a great deal on the side of having a tool for organization besides protection of the drone. We want to make sure that if you do transport the drone, that through a UPS or FedEx or trucking company or whatever, that it is protected. But unlike most of the stuff that Caseman has done over the year, which is strictly considering the world of protection for transport, we're really designing an organizational tool. And so the drones that we're designing for are anywhere from something that fits in the palm of your hand, that is a hobby-based drone, all the way up to, we work with Planck. They're great customers of ours. Birdseye buys from us on the enterprise side, but we also develop cases for drones that are ducted fans, very large. Those cases are like 60 inches long by 3 feet by 3 feet. We've got some fixed wing cases that we've got all the way up to cases that are as much as 10 feet long by 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. So we're really a wide variety of what we do. And we've gotten that broad knowledge from being in the industry for so many years and creating that background that's trusted by the OEMs. And we're working for about 50 OEMs across the U.S. And saying that is critical, that people understand that the market has really come to the point in the U.S. that there's tremendous amount of technology opportunities for the students out there, and that these are not Chinese-based anymore, that we've moved far beyond that, and the technologies are far beyond that within the U.S. And we've seen just insane growth on the U.S. markets this year. We saw about 30% growth on the OEM side, and right now we're up about 500% on OEM, which is almost all U.S.-based manufacturers. So the technology has finally opened the doors for the U.S. markets, which is great. And so many of these other technologies that are out there, like Planck and so many others that are bringing products to market. So, we've got a lot of opportunity all the way from marketing to CAD design of the foam and photography, video. We've got a lot of openings at this point.
Outstanding. Now, for some of the attendees that are coming to this for the first time, can you tell them what OEM stands for?
Original equipment manufacturer.
Okay.
And so and from that standpoint, what we're doing, it's kind of become a synonymous name for making product for original manufacturers. So one of the biggest ones that we've got going right now is Skydio, that's getting a tremendous amount of action out there, all the way from hobbyists to law enforcement. And so what they're doing is they came to us, contracted us to make cases for them. So they, instead of sending their drone out in a cardboard box in some type of general packaging, they ship their case out they ship their product out in our case, and that becomes part of the whole package. And I think that's really what Josh is doing for us with us also, is they're packaging their vehicles in our cases and selling that complete package to the end user.
Great. Outstanding. John, would you like to take that question? And also, I think you might have had some of our recent Grossmont College drone students working with you. Maybe
yeah,
a bit about that as well. Take it away.
We are, our business is, we are the pilots. We are the people who are out there. We're the end user of all these, of all these other companies. Like I said, we're the ones out there. We fly, we always say we can fly anything, anywhere, anytime. We've got about 110 people out in the field right now, flying every day, collecting data for various contracts. And, we're growing. I mean, this is really the explosion part of the industry, I think. And, you know, we are ready to not only, you know, explore new avenues of finding new employees and team members, but, you know, again, training in-house, training people that, you know, we identify that'll be great candidates, training them to do the work with the BEAD standard. That video was a little snippet of some of our trainings. You know, we have a hangar there at Gillespie Field that we can do training in, as well as that's where we house all of our equipment. It's a nice, safe area to keep all of our, you know, our expensive equipment in. And we can also train out in the field. You know, that's pretty much, you know, the main goal is to give the guys a great overview of, you know, what the job entails before they actually get out in the field. So, you know, I would say you know, we are a disabled veteran owned business, and, you know, we love to hire veterans, of course, because you just can't beat the training that you get in the military to go out there and work in the field. But I do have to say that we are looking for, you know, maintenance people who are familiar with, you know, how a drone is constructed, you know, certain, you know, like we always say, if you can build a drone and fly it from parts, you know, build drones from parts and actually successfully fly it, that's the kind of person we're looking for, that kind of technical mind. But also that crossover with aviation. It's kind of hard to find, you know, manned and unmanned areas don't quite intersect as much as we'd like them to. So, you know, finding people with training in aviation and what the FAA requires and what they are looking for with some of these authorizations and, you know, the waivers that we're trying to get. You know, we really want to fly beyond visual line of sight. You know, there's a lot of little things that go into that, you know, the privilege of being able to you know, get some of these waivers. So, you know, that again, maintenance comes in there too. So the kind of that crossing of UAS and manned aircraft, and what can we learn from manned aircraft that we can apply to UAS. You know, again, we've had 100 years of aircraft flying, and you know, unfortunately, we say a lot of these rules were written in blood. And, you know, these are lessons that are already learned that we can directly apply to what we're doing every day. So.
Great, great. I want to acknowledge that there are some questions in the chat. One question is about internship opportunities. So let's have you, Josh, can you take that question? How does a person get involved with internship opportunities with your company? Or what do you recommend?
Yeah, sure. So we do create, we have a careers page on our website where we will create and post internship opportunities. That being said, you know, feel free. I think there is sort of an open, you know, posting there for people who are interested. So if people are interested, you know, we're always looking, even if we're not, you know, necessarily quote unquote advertising for an opening. We've had, over the course of the past several years, I think we've had 7 or 8 interns, you know, a mix of everything from community college all the way through master's students. So always open to it. We've had really good experiences with the local university and community college ecosystem. So yeah, check on our website, and if there's nothing specifically posted, feel free to reach out. You know, our general contact info is on there. And you know, I think for us, generally speaking, we try to, for interns, we try to bound an intern's work into a specific project with specific deliverables. So, you know, if you have something in mind that, you know, is a you know, limited scope project that can be accomplished in a couple months, you know, we're open to you know, inbound pitches on that front. So.
It sounds like you're open to people designing their own internship, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. John, would you like to take that too?
Yes, sir. You know, we've had interns last year. To be honest with you, we're so busy. You know, all of our interns have to be put in, you know, actual employees. We are looking to bring on new interns again this year. You know, we posted specifically in several education, you know, forums for those interns and got people from all over the country. I mean, that was kind of the one good thing about 2020 is we could, you know, work with people from all over, the best people from all over the country. You didn't have to specifically look for people who are local. But obviously this year we would like to get back to in the office, you know, person-to-person meeting, that kind of thing. So yes, we will definitely be looking for interns in the areas of, you know, flight operations, obviously, GIS, geospatial information systems. I didn't mention anything about that before, but that is also kind of one of our challenges, you know, as we move into autonomous drones. Obviously, that's all GIS. You know, it's completely dependent on, you know, how good your GIS information and your people are, to be honest with you. But also, you know, we have a data department. After we gather the information from the sensor, we got to do something, whether we're, you know, 3D mapping, reality modeling, that kind of thing. So again, we are ready to put, you know, interns back into the system. You have to be careful because they, you know, there's very specific, you know, requirements for an intern, right? It's not free labor. It's not, you know, the assistant who goes and gets coffee. They really need to be learning and really need to be, you know, you're hoping to be able to have that person, you know, come back and work for you someday, or at least if they go somewhere to another company, you've got that connection. You still have that, you know, hey, I interned for this company. They're a good company, you know. So you know, that's the hard part, is making sure that the interns are getting all they need out of the program.
Excellent. Juan, would you like to take that as well?
Yes. So yes, General Atomics, usually what we do hire interns. Primarily, most of our interns come out of college students, engineering, or other fields as well, not just engineering. Usually our internships are posted in our website around the fall time frame. So you have to make sure that you don't miss the deadlines to submit your internships. These are full paid internships that basically you come in as an intern to the department that selects you. And it's a good opportunity because I think GA has a good rotation program where we try to give them a full exposure to our company, to our systems, from learning the ground mission control stations to the aircraft, to our flight operations centers. We have multiple flight operations centers across here in the desert, as well as we have a full pilot training center in North Dakota. And again, it's basically mostly the interns, again, from college level. It's good to be, if you're in your senior level, it's probably the best opportunity, because a lot of the times in what I've seen is when you come on as an intern and you know you enjoy what you're doing with us, we will immediately, you know, extend you an offer to, once you graduate, you have a full-time position as an engineer or as a technician or any other business. So just keep in mind, we're not just looking for engineering. We have business majors, we have logistics support, we have technicians. So it's across the whole broad spectrum, but just keep an eye, if you're interested in General Atomics, in our website.
Thank you, Juan. Rick?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of come up with a different side of what we need. What's interesting about our business is that to really understand the design of the foam, design of the cases, really takes a long time. It's very puzzle oriented. So if somebody, you know, has actually an architecture CAD background and even some graphics background, it offers possibly offers possibilities for an internship on that particular side for designing the cases, because it's not only protection, like I mentioned earlier, but it is also understanding the layout and putting as much product into the smallest space as possible. So that's where where the puzzle side comes in, the architecture side, because if you're designing a house or something like that, or a building, you've got a finite amount of space. So somebody's got to understand that. So they've got to think that way to be an intern. As far as the design side. But oddly enough, where we can use more support for internship is on the SEO and marketing side of things. We have never really done any marketing for ourselves. We've done some trade shows over the years, but never really online marketing. And so we're about to bring up a new website. So to tackle that particular side, that would be an opportunity to bring somebody in on the SEO side for the drone world, and also video. We need live content. So we need people out with, showing our products in the field. So that's actually getting somebody out and working with Josh when they're out doing some testing. If we can be out there and get pictures of their vehicles coming out of our cases, same as Bird's Eye, what are they doing in the field, and pictures of our cases out in the field. And also just doing videos about the cases, what's going in the case. And so that's kind of more opportunity where we're at right now as far as positions that we need to fill and those are good internship for people to stretch their legs in the marketing and video skills. And design is not out of the question, but it takes a good 6 months plus to start getting it down. And so it's a little bit tougher to bring somebody on and understand what we're doing on that side. But the other side, people should, with those skills of marketing or video, should be able to jump in and give us some value right away.
Great. So it's really interesting what you shared, because you really covered the whole supply chain for your business. Right? It's not solely it's not solely the person who's coming in just to fly a drone, right? It's more complicated than that. There's a whole bunch of other components to that. So, and that's a nice transition to the next question. It's around so we have some high school students, we have community college students, we have students who are currently a bachelor's degree listening, and what kind of advice would you have for them in terms of their training and their preparation? And I'll have you go first, Josh.
Yeah, the what I will say is, what we've seen is that the difference between the gap between the hobbyist drone world and the professional drone world is compressing, right? You can get a lot of experience in this industry just by buying and flying, hobbyist sort of grade drones. So, I think if it's something you're interested in, the barriers to entry right now are pretty low, right? You can go out and either through your school or just on your own, get your hands on a drone and start getting some experience. Obviously do that, safely and within the bounds of legal regulation, but just having some experience is a big differentiator. I couldn't tell you how many times we've interviewed somebody, who says that they're very interested in this industry, but has never seen or touched a drone. So I think, just going out and getting some hands-on experiences is super valuable and not terribly difficult to do.
Okay, great. John?
No, agreed completely. As a matter of fact, I mean, the actual, consumer drones are even getting cheaper with the Mavic Airs and the Mavic Minis and all that kind of thing. My first drone was a small quadcopter from, Amazon. I think it was $50, but that taught me the very basics of how to be able to fly a drone without GPS, without, in manual mode. And, that's going to carry you throughout your career or whatever. And it's going to let you know really quick if you like flying drones or not, you know what I mean? And then you can kind of scale up bigger and bigger. I think there's a $30, I think it's by Snapton, SNAPTAIN, but it's a tiny drone. You can fly it inside. But again, it's all the same stick movements that you're going to use on an M300, say. The other thing is just, again, learning those aviation rules, as he mentioned, within the limits of the law. Learn the law. It's really not that hard. There's lots of online resources. You can watch a 15-minute YouTube video and pretty much have all of the, major points down. The main thing is we're trying to protect the national airspace system, and we're trying to keep the good name of UAS pilots strong. So, that's, the education there. But yeah, just getting a drone, or, like I said, there's FPV kits that you can buy. You can spend less than $100 on parts to, put together an FPV drone, and the goggles and the controllers are getting cheaper and cheaper. So, and then that way, like I said, you've got an avenue into the maintenance department. But yeah, I would say just get a drone and start flying it.
Okay. Within the confines of the law, right? That's good.
Please, yes.
All right, Juan, would you like to take that in terms of preparation and training?
Sure, yes. My advice would be is to obviously focus on your soft skills. Aside from your academic curriculum, make sure you have good soft skills. I know, communication, being a people person, that's a big breakthrough. And another good advice that I would give, if you're really interested in this field, to look into joining a club of drones, of something that interests you, right? Whether you're into software, you're into specific field of interest. There's a lot of very interesting clubs that are out there, very active. It gives you a really good opportunity to meet people in that field, and also not only joining a club, but also attending when it's appropriate, attending those sessions, because networking is the best way to get a job, to learn about a field, mentoring, reach out to a mentor that you think you want to go into specific field. There's many mentors that provide volunteer services, and just make sure that you reach out to mentors, and don't be shy. Communicate, reach out, send emails.
Great. Thank you, Juan.
Mhm.
Rick?
Yeah, I'm going to approach this from the educational side, for where our side of the needs are, and just for people to think about maybe the packaging industry in general. So often when people think about CADs, they think about aerospace and getting into the GAs, and so many in aerospace overall in these particular areas. But there's a great deal of opportunity out there in other industries for CAD. And just general packaging, whether it's somebody that is designing for packaging that goes on the shelf of general consumer products, and even then going to thinking about mechanical drawings, that gets into CNC work, machine shop type things. Those areas are very exciting, but there's a big difference between CAD work for packaging and CAD work for a machine shop or aerospace. And so the thing is, if you're looking to get into something with aesthetics, and you want to make things, I'll say, look pretty and look nice and appealing to the eye, it's a whole different ballgame. And so, even though I think a lot of professors out there try to start talking about the big pie in the sky and build a rocket or wherever else, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in other ways. And that's the beauty of what we do. And again, I'm going to go back to say the word packaging again, and also think about appealing to the eye. And it's very functional, and it's very ergonomic in the way something operates. And so when people students think about getting into CAD work, think about other things that you see in your daily life that have some great potential in what you can design, and not just these extreme things like aerospace and that type of area. And that's where we fall, is in the other side of it, more in the packaging side of things, appealing to the eye and things like that. So
Great, thank you. So the next question, I'm going to combine a couple of questions into one, because they kind of essentially ask the same thing, is around challenges in the industry. How do you see them, and how can those listening can anticipate those challenges and be ready for to meet those challenges so they can be part of the industry? Juan, can you respond to that question? Challenges in the industry and how people can prepare for those challenges.
Sure. So as far as challenges in the industry right now, I think if I'm on the way that the industry just growing, right? So fortunate for us, we can keep up with our demand, and the challenges now is basically bringing in skilled labor force, right? And it's always a challenge, I think, to everyone. So basically ensuring that you are prepared, and I'm going, directing this to the high school students, college students, to ensure that you're well prepared in taking the challenges, the opportunities that come your way. Leverage from, if you get your foot in the door in a company, and go above and beyond, learn every aspect of that company, and make sure that you are keeping up again with all of your academics, your networking. And it's right now, it's a good field to be in, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. The challenges that I see again from my company that we've seen is bringing in skilled labor force, right? And it's a good position to be. So there's a lot of great opportunities. Make sure that you really dig in to understand the company that you're interested, understand what they do, and be well prepared. So if you get to a point where you're going for an interview, make sure you're able to really ask the right questions so you know exactly where you want to end up in your career.
Great, thank you. John?
Yes, sir. Again, we are in this kind of golden age of unmanned aviation. I mean, I kind of likened it to the 20s and 30s with manned, and it's great, and it's fun. We are, we're getting tons of stick time. We are all, basically manually, unless we're doing a mapping mission or something, that's autonomously, we're flying all this stuff manual. I'm afraid that in the next, 3 to 5 years, there'll be a lot less of this actual manual flying. So, taking that step from, becoming a someone who, again, maybe a recreational, pilot, to someone who can now program, an autonomous mission, even from, hundreds of miles away. That's, kind of the thing too. I mean, also, I'd say, my saying is nobody's going to pay you to fly your drone in the backyard, right? Usually when we are flying a drone, it's where people don't want to be. So, the pilot and, I didn't mention the VO. VO is also another very important part of the flight team. And I wanted to talk about the transition from you starting a VO, you get to move into pilot, that kind of thing. But again, getting to these areas are very, so finding people who, can operate a 4-wheel, drive vehicle safely. A lot of times these people are on their own, all day long, with, and being able to, kind of self manage and be able to, work autonomously. And then the other, challenge we have is these new sensors that are coming out: multispectral, LiDAR, infrared. It all takes an educated pilot, or an educated, let's say, an educated sensor operator, to be able to collect, and process the data into something that is usable. So, those are the 3 things that, I'd like to, 3 challenges that we'd like to, come up with solutions for in the next few years. So
Great, thank you so much. Josh?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned, go out and learn and operate within the bounds of the law. I think the regulatory environment is certainly a challenge, for the industry. I don't know if there's anything really to glean from that for, people looking to get into the industry, other than to, I'll sort of double down on that comment and say, be familiar with sort of the bounds of what's legally possible within the drone industry. I think, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to push the bounds of that technologically, but where we're at right now is that what the technology is able to do far outpaces what the government allows us to do with it. So I think understanding that and knowing that you do have especially in industry, you get into a company that that you have a responsibility to act within the bounds of legal and ethical limits is important. And so I think educating yourself on that and understanding what everybody wants drones to be a solution to every problem, but right now we're limited to sort of a subset of what what they could possibly do.
Okay, great, thank you, Josh. Rick?
If we're really trying to get into what we're doing, and I have to say this about any business that you go and get a job for. I mean, Juan was talking about being prepared when you come in, have a knowledge base of the company. And I think that that's one thing for job seekers out there in the world is when you go out looking for a job, make sure you know about that company when you walk in the door, what they're doing, come in prepared, and make sure you really want to be there and not just get a paycheck, because it's a waste of time for yourself. It's a waste of time for the company to bring you on. And that's one of the things that I think that we've got to have if somebody's coming to us, is that they truly have an interest for the industry and what we're doing. Because if you don't understand it, you've got to bring all pieces together in order to understand it and be a quality employee for the company. And the knowledge base, maybe not specifically going out and flying and having some of that knowledge, but at least having a knowledge of the industry and understanding, where it's going, understanding the technology potentials from Planck and Bird's Eye and so many other companies out there. What are they doing? Because if you don't come in with the knowledge base of the industry, then you don't have a value for us, because you have to understand what the pilots are doing and have a feel for it and a real interest in it in order to be valuable for the company. And that falls in the marketing side. We've tried to hire people for the marketing of in the company many times, to write blogs, to write just overall little social media things for us. And if you don't know the lingo, if you don't understand it, same for these other guys. If you don't have an understanding of the industry and what you're going into, you're not a value for the industry. And for us, if on the marketing side, if you don't come in with the knowledge base already, you can't just all of a sudden start writing about what we do if you don't have a knowledge base. So for all of us, I think make sure you've done your homework and know what you're coming after, and at least have a tingle of passion for what you might be getting into, because having a passion for your job is more valuable for yourself and more valuable for the company in the long run.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have about a minute left, and one final question. I think time has flown. So one final question is 5-10 years down the road, if any of the panelists want to respond to that, what does the industry look like in 5 or 10 years? So I'll just, John, do you want to give your perspective on that?
I mean, imagine trying to, 5-10 years in the past, trying to imagine where we were today. I mean, we can conjecture all we want, but again, it's going to be shaped by demand, and it's going to be shaped by the technological advances. Hopefully in 5 or 10 years, I am flying all US made drones, and we are covering the globe and able to bring drone technology, drones for good, across, to the countries that really do need it, targeted agriculture, security, all of these things, drones can help out with. So.
Great. Josh?
Yeah, I think, my primary difference in 5 years would be that right now there's a lot of smaller players that are working in niche areas, and I think you're going to see a lot of consolidation. By which I mean, bigger companies buying smaller companies and creating sort of, creating a bigger organization with varied with varied capabilities. So where today Planck is a standalone business doing doing just sort of specialized flight controls. I think you'll see a lot of that consolidate into away from sort of individual smaller companies and into bigger players that that own a bigger part of the market.
Great. And Rick?
And I've got to kind of go along with John as far as where things are going to, moving to the explosion that we've seen. Many, 4 years ago, we said, oh, next year is going to be the big year. And then the next year is going to be the big year. 2020 really showed massive growth in the industry on the OE, on the industrial side of things, the enterprise drones. We saw just huge growth in the mining and the utility companies, in agriculture, oil, first responders. I mean, if anybody's interested in that side of it, just take a look at what Chula Vista is doing. They're setting standards worldwide and have some phenomenal videos in first responder areas, and insurance companies and construction. We've seen just absolutely massive growth in all those areas, and me saying that we're up so much this year and last year is proof of it, because we're selling across the board. We don't have one focus on one particular industry, so we're seeing growth all over the place. So the next few years are just going to be crazy, because last year was nuts, and this year is starting off in the first quarter just beyond expectations. I can't even begin to guess at what the next 5 to 10 years are going to be, because drones are incredible tools that are very inexpensive compared to putting a human out to try to do something. So it's the opportunity is going to be crazy for the next few years.
Okay, great. Well, we are past 9:30, and Juan, would you like to respond to that question? Looks like you're still connecting there. All right. If you have a change of mind, we can always send your response to the group. So we had some questions posted by the attendees that were very specific to the Grossmont College program. We'll follow up with responses to those questions. And so for the attendees, this concludes our panel. You will get a copy of the video sent to you, along with the contact information from the panelists and the businesses that they represent. So again, panelists, thank you so much in doing this first panel with the East County Economic Development Council. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.